the Eight of Swords to me is about us finding the opportunity to help others. I feel like this King of Pentacles, though, it speaks to this idea that our expectations may be high. Some of these Eight of Swords situations might feel a little bit beneath us, but I have a feeling that this has to do with some of our compassion. And the reason why I say that is we have this eight here and this eight here, and I feel like she's looking directly at this situation of this person helping another, right? Now, I know that my Virgos can be a little bit, let's say, judgy, critical, that sort of a thing. I think that this is sort of like an opportunity here. How do I want to explain this? With the World card up in the spirit space, I feel like there's an opportunity for compassion through helping others in situations that we might feel might be beneath us this month. Keep that in mind. And the reason why I say this is that it feels like this king has like got his chin pointing up and away from this sort of situation. There's something to be learned here. There's something to be brought here in balance with your thoughts. There's something that's coming to you. And if we want the world, we have to be open to this. We don't want to turn our back on it. We don't want to avoid it or not look at it, right? If somebody's needy or they need something from us, we might need to show them compassion. We might need to show them love. That's this Eight of Cups down in the bottom. Even if maybe we haven't received love in the past, in the recent past, or there's been stuff that we've been struggling with, there's an opportunity here of us to help somebody else with their struggles. It's going to teach us something and bring us into balance ultimately with some of our thoughts and how we see ourselves in the world. That's this World card up here, right? Now, the other card, the other outside influence card, is the Death card. It's funny to me, as I'm seeing this Death card, I want to go to this place of, have my Virgos been hiding out? Have you guys been sort of, there's an opportunity here. It looks like Death's looking straight at the king, right? And there's a treasure at Death's feet. The Death card is never a bad card. It's about transformation. It's about, and there's a crown there. Do you see that? It's almost like to get to this King of Pentacles, we might have to do this dance with death. This idea of letting go of things, thoughts, critical thoughts, self-hindrance things, self-doubt, that sort of a thing. There's going to be opportunities that are going to come to us where we can hopefully help people. And in doing so, we are going to have to see them in a different light or balance our thoughts around them to make ourselves more... it's similar to what we've been dealing with around our emotions in the months previous. It's starting with the intellect, right? And the king, I feel like he understands the intellect because it's a king card, but he's kind of got his back turned to it. Like, no, I've been through, I think what I'm hearing is it's sort of like, no, I've already done that. I don't want to deal with that. I've already been through that. I dealt with it emotionally like a few months ago. I'm not going to deal with you and your bullshit. It's kind of how I feel like this king is saying, right? But Death is going, oh no, Virgo, if you want the world, if you want all of the bestowing and the gifts and that sort of stuff, you're going to have to sort of let go of anything that gets in your way. If this is one of those things, it's time to address it or show up, allow these opportunities or these situations to come in and allow yourselves to think differently around them, to operate differently around them, to feel differently through them. You've done some balancing work in your emotions. Now it's time to get balanced in your thoughts around some of these, or your perceptions around some of these situations. And as you do that, you know, the death card arrives and sort of situations are going to die off. Things are going to change. You know, this Eight of Swords, this gentleman that they're assisting, he might be actually like dying off or leaving, even if we go to help them. Does that make sense? So signing on to help someone that we think is too much or beneath us, or they didn't give us what we thought we needed, blah, blah, blah. It becomes this back and forth. It's almost a waste of time. We're trying to get to this world card of this openness and feeling at harmony and at peace within our universe, right? And to do that, we have to sort of look at things with a less critical eye, and allow ourselves to be sort of maybe more emotionally available to it, a little bit more open to it, and We can still have sort of high expectations, but if we're going to place high expectations on everyone else, we also need to be able to meet the expectations of others, if that makes sense. So this next card is the potential outcomes card for the month of June. This card tells me a bit about sort of where things are going to end up for my Virgos in the month of June, barring that nothing major changes. If this is a negative card, you can use it as a warning to make choices and changes to affect the outcome. But if it is a positive card, you can take heart in the fact that this card is naturally coming towards you. So this is the Two of Pentacles. This is always about sort of the deepening of the relationship to oneself through, twos always represent the deepening of relationships with either others or ourselves. I feel like this being a Pentacles card and it being in the element of the earth, it feels like it's the deepening of the relationship to oneself. This could be the balancing of oneself in their own world, how they experience their world, how they experience their own environment. There's a sort of a humbleness to this card versus what I feel in the King at the beginning and throughout the month of June. I think by the end of the month, you might feel a little bit more in tune. Even though this is only a 2, to me, this infinity symbol wrapping around these 2 coins feels like us coming more into contact and feeling more at peace in the world. We may not have all the benefits that the World card has to offer yet, but we're certainly heading to that place of feeling happy, connected, at equal or equality within our world, right? That's the way that I see this woman. She's sort of dancing around with flowers all around her. She's happy, she's joyous. Simpler things. Her expectations, it's like this King of Pentacles, the expectations are high and deservedly so. You guys have dealt with some stuff going on, right? But if you put your expectations of yourselves and those around you too high, you also separate yourself from the benefit of this World card. The Death card challenges you to maybe let go of some of those things. You can still honor yourself and honor others, even if they maybe don't honor you in the same way, if that makes sense. This 8 of Swords to me feels like this opportunity to balance our thoughts in the month of June around situations that might require us to be more compassionate than we feel as though we want to be. This is going to put us in line with this World card, or put us in more of a sense of ease with our environment around us. That brings us to this 2 of Pentacles, which to me is like not only the relationship to ourselves and our own earth energy and that ability to kind of give back and create and all of that, but it also feels like it's bringing us closer to our relationship to our own world, or the world that we're in, right? And how we relate to it. There's much more of a peace here. And the thing is just because we go to the 2 of Pentacles doesn't mean that we doesn't mean that we lose the knowledge and the awareness and the skill of the King. It just means that we don't necessarily need to hide behind it or use it as any sort of a kind of a defense mechanism. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for my Virgos. I'm going to move on to Capricorn because I need to get this done so I don't end up with 13 videos for the Earth signs on my YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you want further clarification for you specifically, you can contact me at my Facebook business page. I can do a June reading for you and see what we see specifically for you. But that is your reading. Thank you, Virgos, for tuning in. Sorry that the video dropped in the middle of your reading. I need to get Capricorn done so that I don't have a bunch of readings. All right, Caps. Let's see, what does Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, or heavily placed planets, what do they need to know for the month of June 2020? What does Capricorn need to know in June 2020? What will they be facing? So this first card is sort of where you guys are sort of resonating at for the month of June. It just gives me insight into what might be going on for you guys and what's happening throughout the month of June, what you could potentially be creating for in the future. So you guys have the Ten of Pentacles. All right, I'm gonna just say this. My Earth signs, you guys have had the most of your own home element throughout all of your readings than any of the other signs for these June readings. So I'm gonna I want to acknowledge that my Earth signs are doing something right because you guys are in tune or in line, like Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You all are working some serious Pentacle energy in different ways, but all of you are sort of like definitely playing with your home element much more so than I saw in any of the other signs. So you guys have the Ten of Pentacles. Tens are always completions of cycles. Pentacles being the earth energy or money. To me, this feels like there's an abundance here for my Capricorns. There's an opportunity here for my Capricorns to close chapters, to come to completions with certain things in the month of June. But also, it doesn't feel like there's a loss even though you're completing things, right? You might be walking away, but it almost feels to me like you're walking towards something better or something more abundant. The focus here is on this Ten of Pentacles. It's this idea of, okay, I'm ready to, I said this in another reading because this card showed up in another reading, but it feels like I'm ready to take my toys and move on, right? Or I'm ready to sort of move on to greener pastures is kind of the feeling that I get with this card. Is it's sort of like this abundance card, but it's also this idea of completion where even though we might be abundant, we're sort of closing the doors on certain chapters or moving ourselves into different phases or new learning experiences as we move through the month of June. This is a powerful card and a really nice card to have. It feels accomplished. It feels like there's going to be like the tying up of loose ends throughout the month of June with different situations, and also the opportunity to still bring in some of that abundant energy. Like to me, the 10 feels positive. It feels like wealthy. It feels focused and like there's just, to me, it doesn't feel like there's any, how do I want to say this? I want to say it doesn't feel like there's any room for loss, but it being a 10 feels like you guys are ending a cycle, right? You're putting something to bed, but I feel like you guys are walking away kind of aware, so it doesn't feel like a loss to me. Does that make sense? It feels like a gain, all right? The next card is your foundation card. This card tells me a bit about sort of why things are the way they are, what's been going on in the recent past to lead up to this. It's also the memory of this card that sort of holds everything in place. So you guys have the Devil. The Devil is always one of the cards that nobody wants to see, right? But here's the thing. To me, the Devil is one of the great transformers. He's one of the great teachers. Devil, Death, and the Tower, they're always the ones that are going to sort of forge us the most into the highest possible versions of ourselves, unless we're totally going to fuck it up, right? The Devil, to me, down here in this position, says to me that you guys have been being pushed by how do I want to say this? Life in a way. You've been being maybe pushed by your insecurities, being pushed by what challenges you, not only around you, but within you. The Devil is about sort of wanting to keep you stuck in fear, in sort of addictions, in those sort of a thing. I feel like this being the foundation says to me that the Devil is challenging you guys to kind of continue to move forward. It's like, it's almost like the last few months for my Capricorns have maybe been so annoying or painful that it's just like you have to move on. I believe the Devil is associated with Capricorn too, the sign, the card. I'm not 100% sure on that. But that would be really heady Capricorn energy as your foundation. To me, it's like, it's time to stop monkeying around. It's time to stop like dancing with the Devil, and it's time to move on to sort of greener pastures. Come to a completion with this bullshit that you've been dealing with, or whatever it is that you've been like sort of, mucking around with, and close the door on it and move on. Take your toys and go, right? But this is going to be a positive move. And I want to say this too, this Devil in this position, these devils, whatever they are in your life, and I'm not talking about literal devils or demons for my viewers that don't necessarily know how I talk. These devils are like where our weaknesses are. You know, are we hypercritical? Are we extremely self-doubtful? Are we, easily aggressive? Or do we get upset easily? Do people get under our skin easily? These are the things that the devil's trying to show us. The devil's trying to like get under our skin, fuck us up, and drive us crazy so that we stay stuck in a pattern that we don't want to be in and that like sort of hinders us, right? This devil, I feel like, needs to be thanked. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like him being in this foundation position says to me that we need to be thankful for these challenging opportunities that we've been through up until this point, because that's the abundance of this 10 that we have as we walk out of this chapter, right? When we're thankful for the things that teach us, when we're thankful for the things that haunt us, when we're thankful for the, douchebags of the world that like ultimately challenge us to grow and respond in different ways, we shift our relationship to it. I'm going to tell you this, the gratitude will actually take away some of the power of this devil card. If you guys continue to stay in any sort of resistance towards this devil card foundation, there's still an effect that this foundation card has, right? And so if you're in resistance to it, whatever you resist will persist. So if you guys are in resistance to the situation you're in, or you're judging it and you're saying, fuck you, devil, or fuck this person, fuck my boss, I hate my coworkers, whatever it is, if you're still giving that negative feedback to that situation, it's going to continue to absorb you. It's going to continue to harass you. It's going to continue to create havoc in your space. And that's this 10 of Pentacles. Whatever we're creating, whatever we're focusing on in our material world will be in abundance, whether it's positive or negative. The devil's challenging us to sort of become grateful and in gratitude towards whatever it is that we've maybe not wanted to deal with, or that we've been struggling with, or that has been showing us sides of ourselves that we need to address. Saturn went into Aquarius and brought up all of this new sort of energy for us. Saturn is also the great redeemer. And I think, isn't Saturn the planet of Capricorn too? So it's kind of like, hello. All right. Oh no, Saturn just exited Capricorn also, the energy, and it actually just retrograded back into Capricorn till the end of the year. So we're gonna, like, at the beginning of next year, we're probably gonna have another big fucking wave of COVID or something weird happen in the beginning of 2021, because we're gonna move back direct into Aquarius again to readjust and balance all of those energies. Because when COVID broke was when Saturn went into Aquarius and shifted out of Capricorn. So just prepare yourself is all I'm saying. And I would get grateful for the things and the lessons that you've learned, and for the pains and the asses, and for all that they've done for you in ways that they've done for you, because you have to understand that at some level, this being your foundation card, you have sort of brought these things into your life for a purpose. And they're there to sort of teach you, to challenge you, to forge you, to piss you off, to grow you. You get to choose how abundant that growth is in the month of June by how you receive those lessons, right? Or how we end them, how we complete them. All right, and I only say that because the devil is a powerful card, being major arcana, sitting in that foundation space. We don't want to take these devils with us wherever we're going, right? All right, the next card is this spirit or soul card. This tells me what your spirit or soul wants you to look at and focus on. Beautiful. So we have the Justice card, all right? Also major arcana. She's beautiful, she's clear, she's calm, she's concise. She's giving you that Libra, see the scales in her hand? She's giving you that Libra sort of energy of balance. Also with the sword, a definite like sort of air vibe to it. I love that she sits up in your soul space. So justice to me is about Capricorns are going to get what you guys deserve as long as you're willing to give it to yourselves. And that's the thing with this devil in the foundation, is that be willing to give it to yourself, but you have to come to peace with the struggles that you guys have faced in the last few months, or maybe it's been this last year. Whatever has been going on for Capricorn that you guys have been in resistance to, that's been challenging you in big and mighty ways, you're ending those cycles, but I want you to end those cycles with a sense of real, true completion and abundance and appreciation. That's what Justice is trying to show you. She's trying to show you, no, you never maybe deserved those things, but those things were brought to you for a reason. And so I feel like she's this opportunity, Spirit is giving you this opportunity to sort of stand strong in what you know and your thoughts, and to actually gain true understanding and justice out of sort of maybe these situations that have felt beneath you, upsetting to you, not your fault, that sort of thing. I'm not trying to say these situations are your fault, but what I am trying to say is that these situations have come into your experience to teach you, to grow you. So the question is, with this Justice card is, so how did I respond? And did that response serve me, or did it just continue to progress the drama that is the devil? There's an opportunity here to step into this Justice card, which is your higher self, and bring about this sort of completion with this sense of abundance in the month of June that can be really profound. But I feel like Justice and the devil are dueling for your attention. One is definitely going to be much more quiet than the other. And the other, because this is sort of a foundational card, and in the past, it's been something that you've been focusing on or dealing with or running from or whatever for quite some time. Justice, she's just arriving this month to say, our higher selves is coming in and saying, okay, hey, we can look at this through a different light. We can look at this and understand that maybe we didn't deserve it, but it's not about whether or not we deserved it. It's about how did we go about handling it, even though we feel as though we didn't deserve it. Whatever that situation may be for you, Capricorn. Now, the next two cards are the outside influences. These are people, sometimes events, sometimes energies or belief systems that are having an effect on us in the month of June. Awesome. So one is the Magician. All right, so the Magician is always about creative energy. He has the 4 elements at his disposal. He's about creation. He's major arcana. There's a big sort of heady trip with him. This could be an outside influence, an actual person that's here to help us create. This is somebody that could open up new doorways for us. This could be just the energy of that creation, right? This to me, all right, if this is just an energy, right, like say a gift from the universe, opportunities that show up in our lives that allow us to sort of recreate our life, jump at it. Stay in this Justice card. Don't let this devil drive you, and jump into the energy of this Magician, because magic is about to happen. Choices, changes, things that are going to be in alignment with all of the 4 elements, where we can get truly creative and start to make new pathways, all of that sort of thing. There's opportunities here. If this is an actual person that shows up in your life that has this creative ability or is offering you opportunities to move forward, also listen to him, okay? Some of you, this might be an actual person or opportunity. It could be a new job where it allows you the opportunity to utilize the energy of the Magician to sort of recreate yourself, or utilize your energies in a way that feel very creative, inspired, new, right? So this is kind of a big deal. If this is another major arcana, this is going to be a very significant month. I mean, I feel like already just being with these 3 major arcana cards around this 10 of Pentacles says to me, my Capricorns are having a very significant month in June. So pay attention, guys. All right, so let's see what the next outside of okay, this is the 2 of Cups. Interesting. Because I almost said that this could be a romantic interest, and then we've got the 2 of Cups over here. 2 of Cups is probably, in my opinion, one of the more romantic cards of the deck, aside from the Lovers, or like sometimes I feel a lot of romance in the 2 of Wands, or passion more so in the 2 of Wands, but the 2 of Cups to me is about emotional connection and lovers coming together. When I look at this card, this could be about the opportunities to deepen our emotional connection to oneself or to another. This emotional connection could be to the Magician, if the Magician is an actual outside person that's coming in to help create stuff for you guys. I do want to say, if the Magician is coming in for some of you guys, say there's somebody that you're not quite sure if you can trust, He might be dynamic, have a lot of ideas, be very creative, have a lot of plans for the two of you in the month of June. Be mindful, because sometimes when the magician is inverted, I always take caution with the magician. If the magician is us, there's an opportunity for great creation. But if the magician is outside of us, I always take caution with the magician, because we want to be careful that what he's teaching us or what he's doing is not just pure magic and fakery, right? There is that aspect to the magician. Generally, the magician is a very beneficial card, but it also has this, in my opinion, and when I feel the magician card, there is sometimes this idea of impulsiveness with the magician. There can be sometimes self-aggrandizement, if that's even a word, like that sort of, there can be a little bit of ego with the magician. So if this is the person that's, and this also applies to us, if it's energy, when we're in this creative space, we want to be mindful of our ego and not let that overrun us, right? Because we are creating magic. We need to be responsible for whatever it is that we're creating. We need to understand that what we're creating is our responsibility, right? So even if we're creating great things, we want to make sure that we're ready to be responsible for whatever it is we're putting into our experience, right? So with this, if this is an outside person, just be mindful that, because I kind of do feel like this coupled with this, for some of my Capricorns, maybe not all of you, I feel like with this Two of Cups and this Magician card, you guys could be meeting a very charismatic, creative individual in the month of June that you might find some sort of a connection to, or that you might want to get excited about. That's the Two of Cups. That's great, but just remember that there's this Devil card at the bottom and this Justice card at the top. And to me, it feels like how we relate to this magician and how careful we are with him could make a very big difference in our experience. Okay, and that's maybe only for a specific few of you that might meet somebody in the month of June. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from these cards. This Two of Cups to me feels very much like this opportunity for love in June. And this magician definitely is charismatic. He's always a charismatic card, very powerful. You won't miss him. Like if he is an outside person, or you won't miss him or her. They will show up in a big way and be like, oh shit, who's this? Like it's that kind of a vibe. But we want to make sure that they're really the best person for us, that we're ready for them, that we're not creating, say, similar situations that the devil wants to challenge us with. Okay? That's just my little idea. For those of you that aren't experiencing another person in the month of June, this could be just an opportunity through experiences to come into closer contact with oneself emotionally, right? To come into a better understanding of and appreciation of oneself emotionally, because we're aspiring to this Justice card. We're trying to look through different eyes. We're trying to be in gratitude for the harder times that we've dealt with. And we're trying to move on and get creative with new ideas in our life, or new pathways that are opening up. We're being responsible for that in a very big way, and we're utilizing that power responsibly, right? And as we're doing that, we're blending this sort of like deeper self-appreciation, deeper connection to self at an emotional level, loving ourselves a little bit more and appreciating ourselves a little bit more, so that we're less apt to want to get caught up in situations like this devil presents or has presented to us in the past. All right. The next card is what I call the potential outcomes for the month of June. This card is not set in stone. It just shows us where things could potentially go, barring that nothing major changes. If you don't like the card, we can utilize it as a warning and make choices and changes to avoid this card happening. But if it is a good card, then the great thing is that we're automatically on our way towards it. We don't have to do much to make it happen. Okay. So this is the Four of Cups. Four of Cups is about emotional balance to me, not balance, more like stability, emotional stability. The fours to me always represent like the four legs on a table, and bringing stability and all of that to it. Let me just look at this for a minute. It's weird to me. There's a person there that's standing there. I don't know how well you guys can see, but this person is standing there with a flower in front of them, but it looks like a bunch of arms. being waved around. And they're being like sort of held by that person, right? And I think about this Magician card and this Justice card and this Two of Cups, and it makes me think by month's end, are we being dragged back down by another situation emotionally? That's that person kind of holding on to them at the hips, right? That's for some of you. And then for others of you, I want you guys to be aware of how this person looks like those are arms, like it's almost like Kali, and they're waving their arms at the devil. Like, are we dancing with the devil? Are we fighting with the devil emotionally? Are we still like kind of colliding is the way that I feel that these cards are doing right here. Are we still giving too much emotional attention to the shit of our past that has harmed us, hurt us? Are we allowing that to still define us emotionally? Are we still grounding in that and having that be our center of emotional stability? Is, oh yeah, I'm just this big old bag of pain, and I've had this shitty life experience my whole life, and so we continue to sort of give our focus to our past. And it's like, I feel like this cat is just running right up onto that by month's end and going like, oh yay, dance with me, continue to dance with me. And I think that that's what we don't want to have happen. And generally, to me, the Four of Cups would be like sort of a beneficial card. Like, I don't see it as a bad card per se, because it is about emotional stability. But to me, what is going on here with the narrative of these other cards, where I said some of you might actually meet somebody that could be a love connection, that could be, we have to be careful, because I feel like this love connection could go this way or this way, depending on where we're at, what we're creating, what we're expecting. And so that's why I see this as like almost as if this might be the Magician trying to pull my Capricorns down in some ways. But I also see if that's the case, it's my Capricorns are like, to me that flower looks like Capricorn waving its arms going, hey, devil, over here. You know, like paying more focus and more attention to the bullshit of the past, the experiences of the past, and then potentially recreating them with this Magician. You know, this possible new person. And to me, as equally, it's funny, it's like, this is the underbelly of the cards, right? This, I feel like the devil, this is weird, because this is what I'm feeling, like the energy of how I feel the energy swirling around the cards. Let's just take this out for a second. I feel like the devil's energy, right? The energy of our past has the ability to affect the Magician and this Lover's card in such a way that it can drive these cards to turn sort of, these outside influences to turn sort of negative or challenging to my Capricorns. Justice, on the other hand, sits above in our higher self. And when we're operating from that place, she has the ability to affect these outside influences in very profound and beautiful ways. The Magician and the Two of Cups. You see what I'm saying? So, where is our focus in the month of June as we're completing these cycles and we're seeking abundance and material gain or wealth or closing doors and opening new ones? Where is our focus? Because that's going to be very pivotal and very key for my Capricorns, only because we have Justice and the devil of the past sort of vying for our attention. Are we going to let the history of our past drive our emotional well-being into the end of June, where all we're doing is focusing on, okay, I gotta be careful. I had this happen to me once, and it was really bad, and I don't want it to happen again. So I'm gonna keep on the lookout for that kind of person not coming into my life, and we end up bringing it right to us instead of like, you know, moving Justice in and having her bring about the beauty and the emotional balance or stability that this card can represent. Does that make sense, guys? I think that it's really all about where you guys channel your energy this month and how you do it, how you make it feel, how much stability you emotionally create for yourselves by the month's end. I would be really mindful of where your attention is placed and how it's placed. It's funny, like I almost feel like this magician, if some of you are actually meeting somebody, because this Two of Cups is sitting over here, there's this opportunity, if you're focused on justice and being operating from this place of justice, knowing that you're safe, knowing that you're stable, knowing that you're balanced, really believing that and owning that, you close chapters, you let go of the devil, and there's an opportunity there for there to be a really kind of creative and magical connection. But if you're focused on the past and relationships of the past and how things have gone for you in the past and just sort of expecting that to be a further continuation, or you live in worry and fear of that, then this magician Two of Cups combination could be just as challenging or disheartening. I hope that makes sense, you guys. If any of you Capricorns want a further reading on just your own personal private month of June, you can certainly contact me at the business page. I can do that for you. I can also answer any questions there. Whichever route you guys choose, you are going to learn quite a bit in June, I feel like. The devil and justice are very empowering, just in different ways. And they're both going to teach you. It's up to you to choose which one to focus on. All right, so that is your forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry that the video dropped. There will be 2 videos for the earth signs, but what can you do? I look forward to seeing you guys in July. Please like, share, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're watching over on Facebook. I would greatly appreciate it. And vice versa, if you're watching on YouTube, go over and like the business page so that you can find me and message me if you ever are interested in a private reading. I look forward to seeing you guys in July, and you can always tune in for my dailies, the daily forecast to add to some of this information. All right, have a great day, you guys, and have a great month. All right, bye-bye.